tomorrow, actually. But today, we start in Portland. I'm Malika Andrews. He is senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski. And Woj, you wrote a story this morning on ESPN Plus, and it details Damian Lillard's trade request. And there's one line that I found particularly interesting. It says, for the summer, Joe Cronin is betting on the market over Miami. So what is Cronin's position here?
Yeah, Malika, I think what Joe Cronin has told teams, the Blazers GM, are the things that he values in a trade for Damian Lillard. Certainly multiple first-round draft picks, picks that would be considered good picks. You want picks that could be as high in the draft as possible. Good young players, players who perhaps on rookie scale contracts that would be impactful for a rebuilding team like the Blazers. And so, that's where you start when you go out in the marketplace and look for a trade for Damian Lillard. And you look at a team like Miami, where Damian Lillard has asked to go. They've been a contender for several years. They haven't drafted high. They haven't gathered up. Look at the picks that New Orleans got from the Lakers and the Anthony Davis deal, what Brooklyn got from the Nets, or from the Suns, Mikal Bridges, Brandon Ingram, those kind of players. Now, that was a different day in the NBA. But if you're the Blazers, that's where you start out in this process, is searching the marketplace, targeting the teams that have the kind of assets you want. But as time goes on, if you don't have the kind of offers you want from those teams, or any offers at all, then typically you start to have to lower your asking price and look elsewhere. And that's where Miami will still be a part of this process, because if they're a motivated team, they have first-round picks to give. They have a young player in Tyler Hero who's on a big contract, $120 million over 4 years, that Portland doesn't want to take on Tyler Hero, but there will be third teams who would take on Tyler Hero and then send assets. Maybe it's one pick, maybe it's two picks in a deal to Miami for them to give to Portland or directly to Portland. That's all part of the process. But when it's the first week of July, training camp doesn't start until the end of September, there's no rush for Portland to have to rush to move into anything quickly. But certainly for them, their priority, let's see if we can find the kind of assets we run around the league before we would have to think about settling potentially for what Miami has.
You write so poignantly, this is the trade of Joe Cronin's NBA life. It doesn't have to go quickly, but it does have to go right, and that sums it up so well. So that's how Portland is approaching this. But what about Damian Lillard's camp?
Yeah, Damian Lillard's agent is telling teams, some who have interest in Damian Lillard, some who have varying degrees, but who they think might be involved or potentially involved in trade talks for Lillard, that he wants to be in Miami, that if he was traded to their team, that is not the Heat, that he would be an unhappy player there. Now, he has 4 years left on his contract, and I think those teams, when you talk to executives, that's not what would stop them necessarily from trading for Damian Lillard or being involved in it. I think they all believe, certainly most of them believe, that he would default back to his professionalism, to the way he works, the way he wants to win. That ultimately, that's the Damian Lillard you would get. I think the bigger question for teams who are thinking about a Lillard offer, or how much they'd be willing to offer for Lillard, is his contract. He is 32 years old. When he is 35 and 36, he will average $60 million a year on his contract. He did an extension in Portland last year, and you saw it with Bradley Beal on his contract at $208 million, how limited Washington was and what they could get back. Now, part of that was Beal had a no-trade clause. He could veto any deal. He was only going to go where he wanted to go. Lillard doesn't have that no-trade clause, but I think you are starting to see with this new collective bargaining agreement, the new salary cap, the idea of players in their 30s and in their mid-30s who are making $50, $60 million a year. There's a different appetite for that now in the league than maybe just even a year ago. So I think for the Miami Heat, they may very well end up being the suitor who lands Damian Lillard at the end of this, but I think there's a long road to that, and it really matters how much of a stomach Portland is going to have in the end to hold on to Damian Lillard. If they don't like the trades that are out there, Do they bring him back to training camp? Do they start the season? Do they hope that as the season gets going, that people's attitudes toward what they were willing to offer in the summer, they might change during the year when their team struggles to start, or there's pressure from an owner, from another star player to add him? Those things aren't always as relevant in the summertime, especially after free agency. And so it is a question of how long Portland will keep going down this road to see, can we get what we want? Is the market going to get better? But their initial reaction is, we're not going to just trade Damian Lillard to Miami because he wants to go there if there is not a deal that we see that makes sense for us.
Well, and certainly it's a time-honored tradition for agents to call around to say, don't trade for my star player unless this is the place he wants to go. It's something we've seen before, nothing to be alarmed by. Woj, as always, thank you for your time. I do want to bring Brian Windhorst, Mark Spears, Kendrick Perkins into this conversation because, Perk, with all of the reporting that Adrian Wojnarowski has done, he said that in the end, when it comes down to it, Portland's going to take its time. There's a duty that it has, that Joe Cronin has to the organization here, and it could be a little bit of a staring contest in the end. It comes down to that appetite for that. So how much of a stomach do you think that Damian Lillard, maybe his agent, are willing to have in order to make things happen toward Miami?
Well, a stomach that's not bigger than mine, I tell you that much. And the longer they keep prolonging this, the worse this situation is going. Relationship. Like this was supposed to be, or this is supposed to be a peaceful separation between the two parties. Now, when you see, Goodwin reach out to those teams, it's some animosity there now. And the longer you prolong this, the more beef and tension is going to happen. And to me, that's not how it should be. And I get it. It's Cronin's job to do whatever's best for the Portland Trail Blazers, but I'm going to keep harping on this. It is also their responsibility to make sure they do right by Damian Lillard, a guy that is going to have a statue outside of that arena, a guy that has kept that organization relevant for the past 11 seasons when they were at their lowest points. We were turning on the television, not to watch the entire team of Portland, but to watch Damian Lillard go for 50s and 60s and just light the world on fire. So at the end of the day, I know a lot of people say, oh, they don't owe him nothing. Yes, they do. They deserve and they're supposed to do right by him.
There's a balance, right? I mean, maybe it's my glass half full here, Brian. I do believe that at the end of the day, the Blazers are going to do right by Damian Lillard, and that's nothing other than a gut feeling. Do you see Miami still as the most likely destination when it's all said and done?
Well, it depends just on how much Brooklyn is, or how much the Blazers are going to really focus on getting the draft picks that they want. As Woj said, the Heat can give them a couple of first-round picks. It's possible they could make another deal and maybe get them a third first-round pick. But if they're Miami Heat first-round picks, how valuable are they? That's kind of what Woj is saying in this article and what he just said here. And so that makes me wonder if the Blazers are not keeping their eye closely on Brooklyn and possibly also Utah. And the reason I bring those teams up is that those teams have draft picks to trade that are not theirs. The Nets have the picks from Houston that they got for, in the Harden deal. I'm sorry, in the picks from Dallas that they got, and the picks from Phoenix that they got in the Durant deal. They have a pick from Philadelphia. They have draft picks that are not theirs that they can trade. So if you trade Dame Lillard there and they become a really good team, they can do that. And Dallas, we don't know how long that's going to stick together. We don't know how long it's going to stick together in Phoenix. And you look at Utah, and I think that they're probably on the outside of this, but yeah. Utah has the best portfolio picks in the league, and they have picks from Cleveland and Minnesota years into the future. So it just depends on me. If that is what Portland is going to prioritize, I don't know if Miami can ever deliver it.
Well, and then it goes back to what Woj outlined, too, just speaking hypothetically about the Jazz. It's, does Damian Lillard fit their timeline? Does he fit with what they're trying to do there after they prioritize kind of going a little bit younger here? At the end of the day, Mark, how long is this going to drag on?
Could be a while, but just before the show, I talked to Aaron Goodwin, Damian Lillard's agent, and he said that he and Portland Trail Blazers general manager Joe Cronin had a really good discussion today, and that adds obviously on top of Woj's great report. Aaron is hopeful that over the next couple days in Las Vegas, where everybody will be, that the Miami Heat, the Portland Trail Blazers will get in a room, hopefully hash something out. He, added that Dame still wants to go to Miami. That is his preferred choice. That's his only choice. And he's, attracted to playing with Bam, attracted to playing with Jimmy, attracted to the no state tax and what he could do from a marketing standpoint there. And I know Aaron is, typically what agents do is when you're trying to get something done like this, you hit the phones and you try to find something that also the team like the Blazers could be interested in. So I'm hearing that there's been over like 5 to 7 teams that could be interested in be involved in a multiplayer trade for Damian Lillard. And if it gets done, I wouldn't be surprised if 4 teams are involved.
We know the list. It's Miami, Miami, Miami. But as all of you gentlemen know, what happens tomorrow? Everyone flies to Las Vegas. Everyone starts getting in those rooms together, and it separates who is going to be the people that are just making a phone call saying, hey, we feel like we need to check this box and check in, and who are the folks who are actually going to have a package coming in the next couple of days, weeks, months, whatever it is, that is serious, that is attractive to Portland, and that ultimately gets Damian Lillard also what he wants. Because, of course,
hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports here. Another day, another Dame day. All of a sudden, it's just Dame this, Dame that kind of thing. So now, woke up this morning and got several tweets, several messages saying that Dame's agent pretty much took it upon himself to contact some teams and said, hey, if you trade for Dame, you're going to get an unhappy player. So now, he's pretty much saying that his preferred destination is Miami. You guys can do whatever you guys want, but at the end of the day, he is going to be happy in Miami and not happy anywhere else. A bit drastic, but I guess drastic calls for drastic measures. To me, this sounds like there's not much friendly communication between both of those parties. So now, as you guys just saw, Woj explained, 4 years left on his contract. By the time his final year, he's going to average $60 million. When he's like 36 years old, $60 million. Just take into consideration what you're trading for. 60 million. I get it. This guy's awesome. He's Dame logo for a reason, right? Like, he is phenomenal. And quite frankly, 36 is not that bad. And people say that he's slowing down, but, he's still hungry for a chip, obviously. He spent his entire career with Portland. Does he get traded to Miami? I don't know. Because at the end of the day, it's kind of like this. You have Damian Lillard's preferred destination is Miami. Now, I could see the fact that if he had 1 year left on his contract at like $60 million, and then it would come off the books and here and there, right? But now, other teams are saying, hey, guess what? If we trade for this guy, no matter what, the thing I don't understand about this whole thing is saying, oh, he's going to be unhappy. Yeah, I get it. Initially, he's going to be unhappy. But Damian Lillard is not that guy who's going to sit out for the entire season kind of thing. And he's going to mope and whine kind of thing. He's going to act professional. If he gets traded to Boston, he's going to act professional. He's not going to like it. But when those wins start to come in, because Boston's a deep team. Right? Boston, if they keep Tatum, obviously, if they keep Jaylen Brown, if they keep Porzingis, if they keep Robert Williams, Derek White, and figure how to get Dame, that's an elite team right there. That's 100% elite team. You cannot tell me that Damian Lillard would not be happy on the Boston Celtics. Initially, I get it. You don't want to play for Boston. You want to play for Miami. Right? But at the same time, you're in the latter stages of your career. You want to win a ring. You're telling me that you won't be happy with a stacked roster like Boston, come on. You know you're going to be happy with the Boston Celtics. You know you're going to be happy with the Miami Heat, Spurs. Somebody on the comments last night said that pick and roll game is going to be awesome, and I gotta agree. I did agree. Phenomenal point, by the way, to whoever said that. And basically, they're saying that pick and roll with Wemby and Dame would be insane, and I gotta agree. That would be insane. So he would be happy with the Spurs organization, which he said. He also wanted to go to the Warriors, but the Warriors took it upon themselves to trade for CP3 when they could have had Dame Dollar. Another one is the Utah Jazz. Now, why do I keep bringing up more and more teams? Because more and more teams keep surfacing. And these teams have a lot more assets to give Portland than Miami. Utah, remember all the stuff they got for Rudy Gobert? Remember what they got for Donovan Mitchell? They have a plethora of picks. Young talent picks. They couldn't possibly make a deal. I don't know if that's going to happen, but they could, right? Because at the same time, you're not trading for a guy that is final year of his contract, or got 2 more years left. This guy has 4 freaking years left on his deal. So therefore, if you trade for him, you're going to get 4 years worth of Damian Lillard. So if you got the assets, if you got the cap space, if you got a team, you could do it. And quite frankly, Miami sounds nice, right? If you put them alongside Bam, if you put alongside Jimmy Butler, they sound nice. And Eric Spoelstra. But then again, so do the Boston Celtics. If they find a way to trade for Damian Lillard while keeping their cornerstones, that's a deep team. That is, I'm talking like a championship team right there. If they find a way to do that. So now, with Damian Lillard's agent saying he's going to be unhappy anywhere else, well, guess what, dude? You can say all you want to say. But at the same time, you got 4 years left on your deal. Damian Lillard is not that guy. Stop acting like he's going to be unhappy or unprofessional. He's professional. He will, do his thing on the team that he's traded for. His preferred destination is Miami. I can't see Damian Lillard being that kind of guy. Like, sitting out for the season, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't see that happening. So again, what's going to happen? Right? Is it Boston? Is it Miami? Is it the Spurs? Is it the Utah Jazz? It is what it is. That's the Woj update that we have. I was kind of blown away that the agent called around and said that to people. You can say whatever you want to say, but he's going to be unhappy. Or he's going to be unhappy at first, but eventually he'll get over it and start winning, kind of thing, right? If they put him alongside a good team. But again, where do you guys think that Damian Lillard is going to go? That's the Woj update. Leave a comment in the comment section. As always, Jag from Jaggy Sports.